to talk about how we often blame food and we often blame our bodies, and it really has nothing to do with the food or our bodies. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this topic today because I feel like most of us will we will blame the food, that we're addicted to food, or that we are out of control with food, and that the reason why we're overweight is because of the food, which actually that has something to do with it, but it's actually our behaviors with the food that are the biggest issue here, or the biggest challenge. And so when we're blaming the food and we're blaming our bodies, we are not taking responsibility for our actions and our behaviors. And so it's not really about the food, you guys. It's about what you're doing with the food, how you're eating the food, what you're eating, why you're eating, all of those things. And I thought it was really important for me to talk about that today so that you can get a better understanding that when you start to, think about the food and the diets and the restricting and all of that, that will just keep you in the vicious cycle. And ultimately, we want to get to a place where, we're having a normal relationship with food. And what that means is we're eating when we're hungry, we're stopping when we're full, we're nourishing our bodies, we're enjoying food, having an experience with food. We're not restricting ourselves in terms of if there's something that we love, that we're able to enjoy it and that we're not beating ourselves up and we're not blaming the food and all of that. And so often we will constantly blame the food and say, I'm addicted to food, or I just can't stop, or I feel out of control, or we have all of these rules and labels around food, like food's good, food's bad, this is healthy, this is unhealthy. And all of those things just really keep us stuck in the vicious cycle with food. So it's really not about the food. It's about your behaviors and your belief system and your mindset. The mindset is the biggest key here. And so I wanted to come on live today and share 2 mindset strategies with you to help you start to shift out of blaming the food for what's happening. Because the truth is, you are the one that is taking the action. You are the one that's engaging in the certain behavior. You are the one that's feeding yourself. And so the food is not the issue here. And the weight is not the issue. It's what you're doing that leads to that. And so that's why people struggle, is because they are blaming the food and blaming their bodies. And the truth is, our bodies are just really responding to the choices that we're making, right? They are just, giving us feedback based on the choices that we make. And if that means, extra weight on our body, that means most likely that we are either, number 1, completely out of balance hormonally, blood sugar wise, and number 2, eating a lot more than we actually need to. And one of the biggest ways that happens is when people are eating while distracted. And so I wanted to give you this strategy today because it's one of the ways that we can start to take responsibility for our behaviors instead of blaming the food. And so this strategy is really powerful, and it's one of the strategies that I use at every meal, and it has helped me eat so much less than I used to. And it has helped me really connect to food in a way that feels empowering versus defeating, or like I was obsessing, because I used to obsess over food all the time. And so this strategy has been really, really helpful in me nourishing my body more, me having a better experience with food, where I used to hate to sit down and eat. I used to feel like it was a burden. I used to always say, I wish I didn't have to eat, because I had so much tied up around my weight and my body image that eating food felt like such a burden. I just wished I didn't have to eat. So this strategy is really powerful, and this strategy is all about undistracted eating. And so how can you each meal sit down and eat your meal and have an experience that is undistracted, right? Because anytime we're eating while distracted, like if we're in front of the computer, if we're on our phones, if we're in front of the TV, most of the time, 99% of the time, we will be eating more than we actually need to. So I know every time I used to eat in front of the TV or eat while working, I always ate way more than I did when I sat at the table without distraction. And it's so incredible actually to notice how my mind goes on complete autopilot, right? When I'm sitting in front of the computer and I'm eating and I'm just shoveling food down my face, and all of a sudden I'm at the end of my bowl and I'm like, gosh, I'm still hungry, and I'll go get more. And that never happens when I sit down at the table and actually eat without distraction. And so that is one really, really powerful strategy. Now, it's hard for people because we are a society who is addicted to being busy and doing something all the time. And so when we stop and we slow down, it feels really weird. It feels wonky. Our minds start to go crazy. And so we constantly need to have ourselves occupied. And that doesn't serve us in a lot of ways because it doesn't provide any real downtime and space for our minds. And it creates a lot of extra stress too. Like when we're doing all the time, we're never giving our minds and our bodies a rest or a break. There's never like good downtime. And so if you can really sit and eat without distraction and enjoy your meal and savor it and have the experience, your body will thank you. Your food will digest so much easier. You'll absorb the nutrients easier. I guarantee you'll eat less than you normally do than if you're checked out in front of the TV or mindless eating in front of your computer. I guarantee you'll eat a lot less. And so that's one powerful strategy that I wanted to share with you today. The other one is called Practice the Pause, and I know I've shared this with some of you, and this is part of my Smart Food System, and it was part of my webinar that I hosted the other day. And this is a really powerful strategy, and another one that has been like something that I've leaned on through my whole journey with food and has really supported me in my healing. And so how this works is you really, before you eat, before you're going to go toward food, this is especially powerful to use if you are an emotional eater, you're an overeater, or you're a binge eater. Like if at nighttime you really, really struggle with your eating, and those are the times when you overeat or binge eat, before you even make a move towards food, because usually there's a little bit of like, I'm hungry, what do I want, open the cabinet, what's in there, right? There's a little bit of, oh, I'll just have some of this, oh, I'll just have some of that, oh, wait, I'll have some of that. So there's a little bit of that going on, right? And so my encouragement to you is when you notice that you're gonna do that, like you can even do it when you catch yourself in front of the cupboard or with the freezer open. Just stop for a second and take a breath and go, like, what's really going on? Am I really hungry? Am I really physically hungry right now? And then just wait a moment and see. Or is there something else that's going on? Is there something else I'm needing? Am I stressed out? Am I tired? Am I bored? Is there something else that I can give myself right now that's not food that would feel good, that would feel nourishing, right? This attunes us to our body. This pause is really powerful because most of us never take the time to pause. We'll just go, like I said, go on autopilot and just eat without even thinking about it until the after effects, when we're pissed off at ourselves because we ate all this food and now we feel like crap. So those are two powerful strategies I wanted to share with you today. Try them on as you go through the weekend. I would say set a goal to at least eat one meal a day without distraction. Just start to experiment with it. See what happens. See what you notice, right? These are all things that I offer as ideas to experiment with. They're not absolutes, right? It's different for everyone. And these two strategies for me have been the most powerful in me healing my relationship with food, because I got to really look at what I was doing and why I was doing it and taking responsibility for it. So I'd love for you to try those on. I'll check in next week and see how that went for you. And if you have any questions, you can always type them out here for me in this group. Also, you guys, don't forget to join my email list because I have free trainings all the time. And there's also some great giveaways on my site, so karmachow.com. Make sure you get on my list. Get my food freedom guide. It's got some really powerful actions in there to help you take, great steps toward building a normal relationship with food so you don't have to struggle anymore. And there's all kinds of really great stuff on my site. There's awesome recipes. So go check that out. Get on my mailing list. I send a lot of great stuff out. I offer a lot of free trainings. And I'll be back here next Friday at the same time. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. Bye.